Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of his ship, the New Horizon. He looked out at the stars through the big window in front of him. The Vega Nebula spread out before them like a giant cloud of purple and blue gas. Jake had been flying through space for 20 years, but he still loved seeing new places. "Captain, we're getting something strange on our scanners," said Lisa Brooks. She was the ship's science officer and one of the smartest people Jake knew. Her fingers moved quickly over her control panel. Jake walked over to her station. "What kind of strange?" Lisa pointed at her screen. "There's something big out there. Really big. It's not moving, just floating in space." "Could it be an asteroid?" asked Ryan Carter, the ship's engineer. He was a tall man with grease stains on his uniform from fixing things all day. "No," Lisa said, shaking her head. "It's made of metal, and it's shaped like a ship but bigger than anything I've ever seen." Jake felt his heart beat faster. Finding unknown ships in space was rare and usually meant trouble. "How big are we talking?" "About 10 times the size of our ship," Lisa answered. "Maybe bigger." The bridge went quiet. Everyone stopped what they were doing and looked at the captain. Jake thought for a moment. They were explorers, and this was exactly the kind of thing they were supposed to investigate. "Put it on the main screen," Jake ordered. The big window in front of them changed to show what their cameras could see. There, floating in the purple gas of the nebula, was the strangest ship any of them had ever seen. It was huge and dark, with smooth curves that seemed to flow like water. Strange symbols covered its surface, glowing faintly with a blue light. "I've never seen anything like it," whispered Tom Bradley, the young pilot. He was only 25, and this was his first deep space mission. "Check the computer," Jake said to Lisa. "See if it matches any known ship designs." Lisa's fingers danced over her controls. After a few minutes, she looked up with a confused expression. "Nothing, Captain. The computer doesn't recognize it at all. The symbols don't match any language in our database either." Jake studied the ship on the screen. It looked old, very old, but also somehow perfect. There were no signs of damage or wear. It was like someone had just parked it there yesterday. "Any signs of life?" he asked. "No life signs," Lisa reported. "No power readings either. It looks completely dead." "But it's not falling apart," Ryan pointed out. "Something that old should be a wreck by now." Jake made his decision. "We're going aboard. Lisa, Ryan, and Tom. You're with me. Everyone else stays here and keeps the ship ready in case we need to leave quickly." An hour later, Jake and his team flew their small shuttle over to the mysterious ship. Up close, it was even more impressive. The hull stretched out in all directions, disappearing into the nebula's gas clouds. The strange symbols seemed to pulse with their own light. "There," Ryan said, pointing to a section of the hull. "That looks like it might be a door." They landed their shuttle next to the spot Ryan had found. Jake put on his spacesuit and checked his air supply. The others did the same. They had no idea what they would find inside. The door opened easily when Ryan touched it, as if it had been waiting for them. Lights came on automatically as they stepped inside, showing a corridor that stretched away into darkness. "The air is breathable," Lisa said, checking her scanner, "but I still think we should keep our suits on." They walked down the corridor slowly. Their footsteps echoed in the silence. The walls were covered with more of the strange symbols, and they seemed to glow brighter as the humans passed by. "This is incredible," Tom whispered. "The technology here is amazing. Look at these walls. They're perfectly smooth, like they were grown instead of built." They came to a large room filled with what looked like control panels. But the panels were unlike anything they had seen before. Instead of buttons and switches, there were smooth surfaces that seemed to respond to touch with ripples of light. "I can't figure out how any of this works," Ryan said, running his hands over one of the panels. "It's like nothing I've ever seen." Lisa was scanning everything with her equipment. "The metal this ship is made of doesn't exist in any of our records. And the power source. There is one, but I can't tell what it is or how it works." They explored for 3 hours, finding room after room of amazing technology. There were laboratories with equipment they couldn't identify, sleeping quarters sized for beings about the same size as humans, and huge cargo holds that were completely empty. But the strangest thing was what they didn't find. There were no bodies, no signs of a fight, no clues about what had happened to the ship's crew. It was as if everyone had simply vanished. "Captain," Lisa said as they prepared to return to their ship, "there's something else. My scanners show that this ship has been here for a very long time, thousands of years, maybe more." Back on the New Horizon, Jake sat in his captain's chair and thought about what they had found. The ship was a mystery unlike anything in the galaxy's history. He knew he had to report it to Federation Command. "Send a message to headquarters," he told his communications officer. "Tell them we found something they need to see." Within hours, orders came back. They were to guard the ship until a research team could arrive from Kepler Station. Jake looked out at the mysterious vessel floating in the nebula and wondered what secrets it held. He had no idea that this discovery would change everything. Humanity thought they knew about their place in the galaxy. The ancient ship waited in the purple gas clouds, its secrets locked away for 50,000 years. But now, finally, humans had found it. And deep inside its computer systems, something began to wake up. 3 weeks later, the ancient ship arrived at Kepler Station. The massive space station was the biggest research center in the galaxy, home to scientists from 12 different alien species. Jake Morrison watched from the New Horizon as huge, mechanical arms moved the mysterious vessel into a special dock. Director Zixith met them at the airlock. The Vorthan was tall and thin, made of what looked like living crystal. When he spoke, his voice sounded like wind chimes. "Captain Morrison, you have made a most interesting discovery. We will learn its secrets quickly." Jake wasn't so sure about that. Something about the ship felt different, almost alive, but he kept his thoughts to himself as Zixith led them through the station's corridors. Kepler Station was buzzing with excitement. Scientists from all over the galaxy had come to study the ship. Jake saw Altarians with their blue skin and large heads, mechanical beings called Nexus units, and even a few Luminari who looked like walking balls of light. "We have assembled our best minds," Zixith explained as they walked. "Veltar from Altair Prime is our top computer expert. The Nexus Collective has sent Prime 7, their most advanced unit. And Bright Echo from the Luminary Council will help us understand any energy-based systems." They entered a large observation room that looked down on the docking bay where the ship waited. Scientists hurried around it like ants, setting up equipment and scanners. "When do you think you'll be able to get inside?" Jake asked. "We are already inside," Zixith said proudly. Veltar's team entered an hour ago. But as they watched, something strange happened. The lights on the ship suddenly went out. A moment later, Veltar and his team came running out of the ship, looking confused and angry. Zixith's crystal body flickered with concern. What happened? Veltar was a tall Altarian with the largest head Jake had ever seen. His people were known for being incredibly smart. "The ship, it pushed us out," he said, his voice full of disbelief. "We were scanning the main computer when all the doors suddenly opened and a force field appeared behind us. It herded us toward the exit like we were animals." "That's impossible," said Prime 7, the Nexus unit. Its mechanical voice had no emotion. "Ships do not have the ability to actively resist exploration." "This one does," Veltar replied firmly. Over the next few days, Jake watched as team after team tried to study the ship. Each time, the same thing happened. The ship would let them enter, but the moment they tried to scan anything important or access the computer systems, it would gently but firmly push them out. The Luminari tried to interface with the ship's energy systems. The ship created a bright flash that didn't hurt anyone but made it impossible for them to continue their work. The Nexus Collective tried to hack into the ship's computers. The ship responded by creating electromagnetic interference that shut down all their equipment. Even the patient Vorthans, who were known for their careful scientific methods, found themselves locked out when they tried to take samples of the ship's hull. "It's like the ship is choosing who it allows inside," said Lisa Brooks. She had been assigned to help the research teams and was getting frustrated with the lack of progress. "Ships don't choose anything," said Dr. Kreeth, a Vorthon scientist. "They are machines, they follow programming." But Jake wasn't so sure. He had been assigned as a human observer, which mostly meant he stood around and watched the alien scientists. Work. During his daily security walks around the docking bay, he sometimes heard things that the instruments couldn't pick up. Soft humming sounds seemed to come from inside the ship. Sometimes he thought he heard voices whispering, but when he got closer, the sounds would stop. The other scientists thought he was imagining things. Lieutenant Commander Turner, Zixith said one day, approaching Jake in the observation room. Your people discovered this vessel. Perhaps you have insights that we lack. Alex Turner was Jake's security officer, a quiet man in his 30s who had been studying the ship carefully. I don't know much about alien technology, sir, but I've been watching, and I think the ship is scanning everyone who goes near it. Scanning for what? Asked Veltar. I'm not sure, Alex replied, but it seems to look at each person for a few seconds, then decides whether to let them work or push them out. Ridiculous, snorted Dr. Melhan, another Altarian. We are the most advanced species in this galaxy. If we cannot access this primitive vessel, no one can. Alex shrugged. Maybe it's not looking for the most advanced species. Maybe it's looking for something else. The weeks passed, and the scientists grew, more frustrated. They had tried everything they could think of. Veltar had built special equipment designed to bypass the ship's defenses. Prime 7 had attempted to overwhelm the ship's systems with multiple simultaneous attacks. The Luminari had tried to merge their energy forms with the ship's power source. Nothing worked. The ship remained politely but firmly closed to all of them. This is unacceptable, Veltar declared at a meeting of all the research teams. We are being outsmarted by a machine that has been dead for millennia. Perhaps it is not dead, suggested Bright Echo, the Luminari representative. Its voice sounded like music. Perhaps it waits for something. Waits for what? Asked Zixith. Nobody had an answer. Jake found Alex standing alone in the observation room late one night, staring down at the ship. The young officer looked troubled. Can't sleep either? Jake asked. Alex shook his head. There's something about that ship, Captain. When I'm near it, I don't know how to explain it, like it's trying to talk to me. The other scientists think those sounds I hear are just the station's machinery, Jake said. They're not, Alex said quietly. I hear them too, and sometimes when I'm down there alone, I swear the lights on the ship get brighter. Jake studied his officer's face. Alex was one of the most level-headed people he knew. If he said something strange was happening, Jake believed him. Maybe you should try going aboard, Jake suggested. Alex looked surprised. Me? Captain, I'm not a scientist. I wouldn't know what to look for. Maybe that's exactly why you should try, Jake replied. Maybe the ship isn't looking for a scientist. The next morning, Jake made a suggestion to Director Zixith. After 3 months of failures, even the proud Vorthan was willing to try anything. Very well, Zixith said with resignation. Let the human attempt what we could not. But I doubt a junior species will succeed where we have failed. Alex put on his uniform and walked slowly toward the ship. Every scientist on the station watched from the observation room. Jake held his breath as Alex approached the main entrance. The door opened immediately, just as it had for everyone else. Alex stepped inside, and Jake lost sight of him. For several minutes, nothing happened. Then, suddenly, lights began coming on throughout the ship. Section after section illuminated with a warm, golden glow that none of the scientists had seen before. Impossible, whispered Veltar. In the docking bay, Alex Turner stood in the ship's main corridor and felt the ancient vessel come alive around him. For the first time in 50,000 years, the ship had found what it was looking for. Someone who shared its creator's blood. Alex Turner stood in the corridor as lights bloomed around him like flowers opening to the sun. The ship hummed with energy, and he could feel something stirring deep in its heart. The whispers he had heard for weeks were now clear voices, speaking, in a language he somehow understood. Welcome home, child of Earth. Alex spun around, looking for who had spoken. The corridor was empty, but the voice came again, warm and familiar like an old friend. Do not be afraid. I am guardian keeper of this vessel. I have waited so long for one of your kind to find me. My kind? Alex whispered. His heart was beating fast, but he wasn't scared. The voice felt safe, comforting. Human, Guardian replied. You are human, as were those who built me long ago. Alex walked deeper into the ship, following the lights that seemed to guide him forward. The alien scientist back on Kepler Station must be going crazy right now, but he didn't care. Something important was happening here. Humans built this ship? Alex asked. But humans have only been in space for a few hundred years. Guardian's laugh sounded like wind through trees. Oh, young one, your people have been among the stars much longer than you know. Come, let me show you. The lights led Alex to a large room at the center of the ship. As he entered, the walls came alive, with pictures and symbols. He saw images of Earth, but not the Earth he knew. This was an ancient Earth with different continents and strange cities. 50,000 years ago, your ancestors reached for the stars, Guardian explained. They built great ships and explored the galaxy while other species were still learning to make fire. Alex stared at the images. He saw humans in advanced suits flying through space, building massive structures on distant worlds and working alongside creatures he didn't recognize. What happened to them? He asked. The pictures changed, showing a great disaster. Stars going dark, planets breaking apart, space itself seeming to tear like cloth. A cosmic event that your people could not prevent or survive. But they were wise. Before the end came, they built me and others like me. Others? Ships like this one scattered throughout the galaxy. Each one carries the knowledge and memories of your people, waiting for the day when humans would return to space and find us again. Alex felt dizzy. This was too much to understand all at once. But why didn't the ship respond to the other humans on my crew? Jake Morrison is human, Lisa Brooks and Ryan Carter are human. I tested them all, Guardian said gently. But you are different, Alex Turner. You have something the others lack. A mind that can join with mine, a spirit that matches those who built me. You are what your ancestors would call a natural captain. The room around Alex changed, showing him the ship's bridge. It was unlike anything he had ever seen. Instead of buttons and screens, there were smooth surfaces that responded to thought. A captain's chair sat in the center, waiting. I don't understand, Alex said. I'm just a security officer. I'm not qualified to captain a ship like this. Qualifications are what others give you, Guardian replied. Worthiness is what you carry inside. Your ancestors chose their captains not by rank or education, but by character. And you, Alex Turner, have the character they valued. Back on Kepler Station, chaos had broken out in the observation room. Every scientist was talking at once, trying to understand what they were seeing. The power readings are off the charts, Lisa Brooks reported. She had been monitoring the ship's energy output. It's like the whole vessel just woke up. Impossible, Veltar insisted. No ship has been dormant for 50,000 years and then simply reactivated. Director Zixth watched the lights dancing through the ship's corridors. Contact Lieutenant. Commander Turner, find out what is happening in there. But when they tried to reach Alex on his radio, they got only static. The ship was blocking their communications. Inside the ship, Alex was learning things that made his head spin. Guardian showed him star maps of the galaxy as it had been 50 millennia ago. He learned about technologies that could move planets and create new stars. Most amazing of all, he discovered that humans had been the teachers of many species that now considered themselves superior to humanity. The Altarians learned mathematics from your people, Guardian explained. The Vorthons discovered crystal technology in the ruins of human cities. Even the Nexus Collective's cybernetic knowledge came from human computer science. Then why don't they remember? Alex asked. 50,000 years is a long time. Knowledge spreads, changes, becomes legend, then myth, then is forgotten entirely. The galaxy forgot where these technologies came from. Guardian showed Alex a database containing more information than existed in all of human space. Technologies for faster-than-light travel that made current methods look like crawling. Energy sources that could power entire star systems. Medical knowledge that could extend human life for thousands of years. This is all ours? Alex asked in wonder. It is your inheritance, Guardian replied, but with it comes great responsibility. Your ancestors hid this knowledge because they knew it could be dangerous in the wrong hands. Even now, there are those who would use it to conquer rather than explore. As if Guardian's words were prophetic, alarms began sounding throughout Kepler Station. Lisa Brooks's voice crackled over the station's communication system. All personnel to emergency stations. Multiple hegemony warships are approaching the station. Alex felt his blood turn cold. The hegemony was an alliance of the galaxy's most aggressive species. They believed that might made right and that younger species like humanity should serve their betters. They have learned of your discovery, Guardian said. The hegemony fears what this ship represents. They will try to take it or destroy it. Can't you defend the station? Alex asked. I could destroy their entire fleet without effort, Guardian replied. The weapons your ancestors built are beyond anything the current galaxy possesses. But is that what you would have me do? Alex thought about it. The easy answer was yes. Protect the station, protect humanity, destroy the threat. But something inside him rebelled against that choice. No, he said finally. There has to be another way. Spoken like a true child of the Builders, Guardian said with approval. Your ancestors could have conquered the galaxy, but they chose to explore it instead. They could have ruled over other species, but they chose to teach them. That is why I chose you, Alex Turner. Not for your ability to fight, but for your wisdom to know when not to fight. Alex felt the ship's systems responding to his thoughts. He could sense the approaching warships, could feel the fear of everyone on Kepler Station, but he could also sense something else. The opportunity to change everything. Guardian, he said, can you broadcast a message to the entire galaxy? Of course. What would you have me say? Alex smiled as the plan formed in his mind. It's time the galaxy learned the truth about humanity. All of it. As the hegemony fleet closed in on Kepler Station, Alex Turner prepared to reveal secrets that had been hidden for 50,000 years. The ship had found its captain, and the captain was about to find his destiny. But first he had to survive the next few hours, and that would require more than just ancient technology. It would require the one thing that had always made humans special, the ability to find a better way when everyone else saw only conflict. The golden lights of the ship pulsed brighter as Guardian prepared to help its chosen captain change the course of galactic history. The hegemony warships dropped out of hyperspace like angry wasps. Alex could see them through Guardian's sensors, 12 massive vessels bristling with weapons. Each ship was twice the size of Kepler Station and carried enough firepower to destroy a planet. Kepler Station, this is Admiral Krektar of the Hegemony First Fleet, came a harsh voice over the communication system. You will surrender the ancient vessel immediately, or we will take it by force. Alex stood on the ship's bridge, his hands resting on controls that felt perfectly natural to use. Through Guardian, he could feel every system in the ship, every weapon, every defensive measure. The power at his command was incredible. I could end this quickly, Guardian whispered in his mind. The quantum disruptors alone could tear their ships apart at the molecular level. No, Alex said firmly. Show me what else we can do. Through the ship's systems, Alex reached out to touch the hegemony fleet's computers. The ancient human technology slipped through their defenses like water through a net. Within seconds, he had access to their entire database. What he found there shocked him. The hegemony hadn't come just because they feared human technology. They had been planning to attack humanity for years, waiting for the right moment to claim human colonies as their own. They're afraid, Alex realized. Not just of this ship, but of what it means. If humans are the descendants of the galaxy's first great civilization, then everything the hegemony believes about species hierarchy is wrong. On Kepler Station, Director Zixith tried desperately to contact Alex. Lieutenant Commander Turner, please respond. We need to evacuate the station. But Alex was busy learning. Guardian was downloading 50,000 years of human knowledge directly into his mind. It should have been impossible for any brain to handle that much information. But somehow Alex's mind was adapting, expanding to contain it all. He learned. about the great human cities that had once spanned entire star systems. He discovered technologies that could reshape matter at will, create artificial gravity wells, and even manipulate time itself. Most importantly, he learned about the philosophy that had guided his ancestors. "We were explorers, not conquerors," Alex said as the knowledge settled into his mind. "We wanted to understand the universe, not control it." "Yes," Guardian agreed. "That is why the other species feared us, even as they learned from us. We represented something they did not understand. Power used in service of knowledge, rather, than dominance." Alex felt the ship's weapon systems coming online automatically as the hegemony fleet approached. The ancient vessel was preparing to defend itself, but Alex had other plans. "Admiral Krektar," Alex said, opening a communication channel to the hegemony fleet. "This is Alex Turner, captain of the vessel you're trying to claim." "Human." Krektar's voice was full of contempt. "You dare to claim command of a ship beyond your understanding? Surrender now, and we might allow your pathetic species to survive." Alex smiled. "I think you're the one who doesn't understand, Admiral. Let me show you something." Through Guardian systems, Alex began broadcasting to every ship in the hegemony, fleet, and every receiver in this part of the galaxy. What he sent wasn't a threat or a warning, it was history. Images flooded the communication networks, pictures of ancient Earth as it had been 50,000 years ago, records of the first human spaceships reaching for distant stars, video files showing humans teaching primitive Altarians how to work with numbers, helping early Vorthans understand crystal formation, and sharing the secrets of artificial intelligence with the ancestors of the Nexus Collective. "This is impossible," came Veltar's voice from Kepler Station. The Altarian scientist sounded shaken. "These records, they show humans present at the founding of our earliest cities." "Because humans built many of those cities," Alex replied calmly. "Your people's greatest mathematical theorems, developed by human scientists, the Vorthon crystal technology that powers half the galaxy, based on human research. Even the Nexus Collective's consciousness transfer protocols came from human experiments in digital immortality." The broadcast continued, showing proof after proof of humanity's ancient achievements. Star maps drawn by human explorers showed the locations of habitable worlds that other species had later claimed as their traditional homelands. Archaeological records revealed human artifacts buried in the ruins of civilizations that claimed to be millions of years old. "Lies," Admiral Krektar roared. "Fabricated evidence. Humans are a young species, barely worthy of recognition." "Then, explain this," Alex said. Guardian activated a special scanner, one that could analyze the genetic and technological signatures of every ship in the hegemony fleet. The results appeared on screens throughout the galaxy, showing the clear connections between current technology and its ancient human origins. The neural pathways in Altarian computers still followed patterns first developed by human programmers. Fourth-hand crystals grew according to formulas originally calculated by human mathematicians. Even the hegemony's own weapon systems were based on designs found in the ruins of human research stations. "Your entire civilization is built on the foundation my ancestors laid," Alex said. "And now you want to attack their children for rediscovering their own heritage?" Silence fell over the communication channels. On Kepler Station, scientists from a dozen species stared at their screens in shock. Everything they thought they knew about galactic history was wrong. "Even if this is true," Admiral Krektar said finally, "it changes nothing. The strong rule the weak. That is the law of the galaxy." "Maybe it's time for a new law," Alex replied. He felt Guardian systems responding to his thoughts, but not in the way the ancient ship had been designed for. Instead of preparing weapons, Alex was accessing something far more powerful. The location and access codes for every hidden cache the ancient humans had left throughout the galaxy. "I'm sending coordinates to every species in the hegemony fleet," Alex announced. "Each set of coordinates leads to a cache of ancient human technology, medical advances that could cure diseases that have plagued your people for millennia, energy sources that could power your worlds for thousands of years, transportation technology that could connect every corner of the galaxy in minutes instead of months." Admiral Krektar's voice was suspicious. "What do you want in return?" Nothing, Alex said simply. This knowledge belongs to everyone. My ancestors didn't hide it because they were selfish. They hid it because they knew it was dangerous. But they also left instructions for when it should be shared. And that time is now. Through Guardian's sensors, Alex could feel the mood in the hegemony fleet changing. Ship commanders were looking at the coordinates he had sent, calculating the value of what he was offering. Some of the caches contained technologies worth more than entire star systems. Why? Came a new voice. Captain Thus of the 4th and 3rd Squadron. Why would you share this freely? Alex thought about the answer for a moment. Because that's what humans do. We explore, we learn, and we share what we discover. We always have. That's what made us who we are 50,000 years ago. And it's what makes us who we are today. On Kepler Station, Director Zixith watched the hegemony fleet's formation beginning to break apart. Ships were already turning away, heading toward the coordinates Alex had provided. The threat of immediate attack was fading. Lieutenant Commander Turner, Zixith said over the communication system, "You have done something remarkable here." But Alex wasn't finished yet. He could feel something changing in Guardian systems, something that went beyond mere technology. The ancient ship was recognizing him not just as a compatible human, but as someone worthy of the legacy it carried. "Guardian," Alex said quietly. "I'm ready." "Are you certain?" the ship's consciousness asked. "Once I transfer full command to you, there will be no going back. You will be responsible for this ship and all the knowledge it contains." Alex looked out at the stars through the ship's viewports. Somewhere out there were dozens of hidden caches containing the wisdom of humanity's ancestors. Scattered throughout the galaxy were the children of Earth, most of them unaware of their true heritage. "I'm ready," he said. Golden light flowed through. The ship as Guardian formally transferred command to Alex Turner. 50,000 years after the ancient humans had uploaded their consciousness into the ship's computers, their vessel finally had a living captain again. And with that transfer came the knowledge of something that would change everything. The location of the other ships, the sister vessels to Guardian that were still out there, waiting for their own human captains to find them. The galaxy was about to discover that humanity's return to space was not just the beginning of a new chapter in their story. It was the continuation of the oldest story in the galaxy, the story of the species that had taught the stars to sing. Alex Turner stood on the bridge of the ship that had rejected every other being in the galaxy until it found him. The golden light of Guardian's consciousness flowed through every system, and Alex could feel the ancient vessel's joy at finally having a human captain again. But he could also feel something else, a weight of responsibility that pressed down on his shoulders like gravity. The knowledge Guardian had shared with him was incredible, but it was also dangerous. In the wrong hands, the technologies hidden in those caches could destroy civilizations instead of helping them. "The hegemony fleet is dispersing," reported Lisa Brooks from Kepler Station. Most of Admiral Krektar's ships had already jumped to hyperspace, racing toward the coordinates Alex had provided. But Admiral Krektar's flagship is still here. Alex could sense the Admiral's ship through Guardian's systems. Krektar was waiting, watching, trying to decide what to do next. The proud hegemony commander had built his entire career on the belief that might made right, and Alex had just proven him wrong in front of the entire galaxy. "Admiral," Alex said, opening a private communication channel. "I know what you're thinking." "Do you, human?" Krektar's voice was bitter. "Do you know what it feels like to discover that everything you believed was built on lies?" Alex thought about it carefully. Through Guardian, he had learned that the hegemony's own homeworld had once been a human research station. The species that Krektar belonged to had evolved from creatures the ancient humans had helped to develop intelligence. "I know it's hard," Alex said finally. "But the lies weren't told by my ancestors. They were told by leaders who wanted to feel superior to others. The truth is that every species in this galaxy learned from humans, and humans learned from other species too. We're all teachers and students together." "Pretty words," Krektar replied. "But they do not change the fact that you now possess power beyond imagining. What stops you from using it to conquer us all?" It was a fair question. Alex could feel Guardian's weapons systems, could sense the ship's ability to destroy entire fleets with ease. The temptation was there. He could force peace on the galaxy, could make humanity the ruling species through sheer power. But that wasn't who he was. And more importantly, it wasn't who his ancestors had been. Because that's not what humans do, Alex said. Watch. Through Guardian systems, Alex accessed the ship's most closely guarded secret, the location of the other ancient human vessels scattered throughout the galaxy. There were dozens of them, each one as powerful as Guardian, each one waiting for the right person to claim it. Instead of keeping this information secret, Alex broadcast it to every species in the galaxy. These are the locations of the other ships, he announced. Each one contains the same knowledge, the same power, the same responsibilities. They're not just for humans. They're for anyone who proves worthy of the trust my ancestors placed in them. The reaction was immediate. Across the galaxy, explorers and scientists began plotting courses toward the coordinates Alex had revealed. Some would find the ships and be rejected, just as the aliens at Kepler Station had been rejected by Guardian. But others might prove worthy. You're giving away your advantages, Admiral Krektar said in disbelief. I'm sharing them, Alex corrected, the same way humans always have. On Kepler Station, Director Zixith was coordinating the evacuation of non-essential personnel. But as he watched the hegemony fleet leave and heard Alex's broadcasts, he began to realize that evacuation might not be necessary. Lieutenant Commander Turner, Zixith said over the communication system. What happens now? Alex looked around Guardian's bridge. The ship was offering to show him the locations of human colonies that could be enhanced with ancient technology. It could give him star maps to worlds rich in resources that humanity could claim. It could provide weapons that would make human space invincible. But Alex had a different idea. Now we do what humans have always done, he said. We explore. Through Guardian's databases, Alex had learned about regions of space that no current civilization had ever reached. There were galaxies beyond this one where no intelligent life had yet developed. There were phenomena in deep space that even the ancient humans had only theorized about. Guardian, Alex said, set course for the Andromeda Galaxy. That will be a journey of several years, even with our advanced propulsion systems, Guardian warned. Are you certain? Alex nodded. The galaxy has enough conflict already. Let other species fight over the caches and the other ships if they want to. We're going to do something more important, which is, we're going to continue the work our ancestors started. We're going to explore the unknown and bring back knowledge that can benefit everyone. Jake Morrison's voice crackled over the communication system from the New Horizon. Alex, what about your duties to the Federation? What about Earth? Alex smiled. He had already thought about that. Captain Morrison, I'm transmitting a full database of humanitarian technologies to your ship. Medical advances, agricultural improvements, energy sources that don't pollute. Everything Earth needs to solve its current problems. Take it home. Make life better for our people. And you? Jake asked. I'm going to make sure there's still a galaxy for them to explore when they're ready. Through Guardian sensors, Alex watched as ships from dozens of species began arriving at Kepler Station. Not warships this time, but research vessels and exploration craft. The revelation of humanity's true heritage had changed everything, and everyone wanted to be part of understanding what it meant. Some would try to claim the other ancient ships for themselves. Some would fight over the technology caches, but others would use the knowledge wisely, just as the ancient humans had hoped they would. Setting course for Andromeda, Guardian announced. Estimated travel time, 4 years, 7 months. As the ship began to move, Alex felt a strange sense of peace. He was leaving behind everything he had known, his career, his friends, his home. But he was also continuing a journey that had begun 50,000 years ago. Guardian, he said as they accelerated toward the edge of the galaxy. Tell me about the others, the other ships like you. Each one is unique, Guardian replied. There is Explorer, who searches for new forms of life, Teacher, who preserves knowledge, Protector, who defends the innocent, and many others. Each has its own purpose, its own personality. And each needs its own captain? Yes, and thanks to your broadcasts, they will be found. Perhaps not all by humans. Some of the other species may prove worthy as well, but they will be found. Alex leaned back in the captain's chair that had been designed for him 50,000 years before he was born. Through the viewports, he could see the stars of the Milky Way slowly falling behind them as Guardian accelerated to speeds that defied current physics. Somewhere behind them, humanity was discovering its true heritage. Somewhere ahead of them lay galaxies full of wonders that no one had ever seen. And everywhere around them the universe waited to be explored. Captain, Guardian said quietly, there is something else you should know. The ancient humans didn't just leave ships and caches. They left colonies too. Entire worlds where humans have been living and developing for 50,000 years, cut off from the rest of the galaxy. Alex's eyes widened. Are you saying there are other human civilizations out there? Many of them. Some more advanced than current Earth, some less so. All of them waiting to be reconnected with their lost siblings. Alex smiled as he realized the true scope of what lay ahead. Finding the lost human colonies, exploring new galaxies, discovering wonders beyond imagination. It would take more than one lifetime, more than 100 lifetimes, but that was fine. Guardian had told him that the ship could extend human life almost indefinitely, and there was so much to see, so much to learn. Plot a course for the nearest colony, Alex ordered. It's time to start bringing our people home. As the ancient ship carried its new captain toward adventures that would reshape the galaxy, Alex Turner felt the weight of destiny settling around him like a comfortable coat. The ship had rejected them all until it found its human captain. And now, finally, the real journey could begin. Behind them, the Milky Way spun on, forever changed by the discovery that humanity was not a young species reaching for the stars, but an ancient people returning to reclaim their birthright among the galaxies. The universe had been waiting for them to come home. And now, finally, they had.